Okay, it is getting dark so fast. We need to get moving. I was just on the phone and the sun was setting. I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. I gotta go. Gotta go. Can you tell that I am from Wisconsin? Okay, you guys, have you ever avoided doing something because the idea of doing it alone just terrified the living shit out of you? I don't know where that feeling comes from because I will tell you, I don't experience it myself. I like doing things alone. I love it. In fact, I feel so free. It's so liberating. It's so peaceful. There's so much solitude. That's how you connect with yourself. You can't connect with yourself unless you spend time alone. So I love it. And I guess if I was talking to you, if I was talking to someone who was uncomfortable doing things alone, like going out to eat alone, going to movies alone. I told you guys about that person. I told you guys about someone in a different video where I was having this conversation, and she was 53, divorced, and had never done anything on her own, like ever. She was married from 20 to 27, from age 20 to 27. And she was an immigrant. She moved here with her husband and was just very much that kind of submissive wife, who was not really allowed to have her own needs or wants or anything. But also, I don't know that she would have wanted to. She just wasn't that independent spirit, you know? A lot of people aren't. And I guess if I were talking to someone who feels that way, I just would get really curious. I would be so curious about where it comes from and what exactly are the thoughts that you're having that are making you feel afraid or self-conscious to do things alone. What are you making it mean about you? What are the messages? What are the voices in your head saying? Are they saying you're a loser because you don't have any friends? You don't have anyone to do this with? You're a loser because you're single? How are you going to look? You're going to look stupid. What is it? By the way, I need to blow out this candle. I'm going to tell you, I'm about to take this back to Whole Foods because this thing is full like candle. It burned. It never had an actual flame. It's like this little, bluey flame that's so tiny. And it only just burned straight down. Like it never burned all this wax around the top. And it was never a nice flame. It was always just like this little thing. I'm like, this whole candle is still here, but it's like at the bottom. But there's like tons of wax that's not burned yet. I'm like, hello, I'm taking this back. They're going to give me a new candle. And I want a different brand. I don't want the 365 brand because this thing sucks. Now you know. Okay, so yeah, reframe what it means to be alone. Reframe it as self-discovery rather than it being this like empty void. Which, by the way, an empty void is also quite welcome, if you ask me, every once in a while. That's how you grow. Like you got to go through these portals and you have to enter the void and you go there and you feel like you're going to die and like life isn't worth living and you're miserable. And then all of a sudden you didn't even realize that you were being wrapped up in your little cocoon, your little chrysalis, and then you emerge as this brand new butterfly and you fly around for a few years. And then there's another void and the cycle starts. Then you die and it starts over again. That's what happens. Anyways, getting sidetracked. I think a lot of it is in our culture. There's some value placed on being in relationship and companionship and being engaged in social activities. And those things are valuable. But I just think that our culture has a fear of facing one's own thoughts and facing your own emotions and facing your unresolved pain. And I think that a lot of the fear of being alone is this avoidance of yourself. Being alone, it does not equate to being unloved or unwanted. So what are you running from when you're afraid of being alone? There are so many benefits to solitude. You reconnect with yourself. It strips away external noise, helps you tune in to your true desire, to your inner voice. These moments of being alone, this is when clarity and self-awareness emerge. I can't imagine having the realizations that I've had about myself if I had not spent so much time alone, deep in introspection, when you are constantly distracting yourself and busying yourself with interacting with other people, you never do that. You never have to do that. And I say you never have to do that because that's, I think, the way that a lot of people would think of it is like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. And it's like, well, you don't have to do that as long as you busy yourself with other things. But to me, God, my time spent, even when I go on hikes and go trail running, I never do that with other people. Rock climbing, I do because you have to rock climb with other people. I mean, I guess you don't have to, but technically, but you know what I mean. But like hikes and my trail running, sacred time. That is my time to just be with myself. I don't want to talk to anyone. I don't want to see anyone. Your experience of nature, by the way, is so much different when you're alone. Think about that. When you spend time alone in nature, the connection that you have, it is like oh my gosh, it's like the most magical thing. I love it. I love it. I cherish it. And it's so sacred to me. I almost am so protective of it that I would never let anything take it away from me. And I would never let anything tarnish that relationship that I have with nature. But maybe you're not a nature person. I don't know. But every solo coffee date, just going and sitting with yourself, going and sitting at a bookstore and reading a book, or at a coffee shop and reading a book, or going to the library, or even going to a movie by yourself in some ways, even though you're distracting yourself with the movie, but there's still something about just spending that time with yourself. It's a declaration of self-sufficiency. And I will tell you that relationships are beautiful. I love a good relationship as much as the next guy, but there is a very unique joy of not needing to compromise to adapt to anyone else's preferences. So you can be in a relationship and also appreciate these benefits as long as you make time for yourself in that relationship too. But a lot of people don't. A lot of people that are in relationships, they never take time for themselves. And I have been in that position before too, where you lose yourself completely and it's just and you lose yourself and you don't notice it because you're just like infatuated and you're falling in love and you love spending your time with them. And you just want to be together all the time. And then all of a sudden though, you're prioritizing them and what you guys want to do together. And this has been a long time since I allowed that to happen. But in the past, I had a relationship where I had this routine where I was practicing yoga every day. You know, at the time I was obsessed with yoga. I was teaching yoga, practice religiously. And then I started dating someone and all of a sudden I'm having a hard time finding time to fit it in. And then after a month, probably, I just abandoned it completely. And honestly, that was the end of me doing yoga, which is wild. But so it's fine because, you know, I moved on to other things and I kind of am like that anyway, where I get really obsessed and into something and I'm doing it for several months or a couple of years and it's just the thing. And then I move on to something else. And I'm just if you know anything about human design, I'm a manifesting generator and that is just par for the course, basically. But all I'm saying is that these solo experiences allow you to explore your curiosity in a different way, in a way that you wouldn't be able to do when you're surrounded by company all the time. That's all I'm saying. And personal growth requires solitude. You guys, how dark is it in here right now? Because I can't tell what I look like on this camera and it just keeps getting darker, but I'm not done talking. So I better hurry up. Okay, solitude forces you to sit with your emotions and to confront some uncomfortable truths, right? But this confrontation is the foundation for emotional maturity and for healing. If you don't allow yourself to get quiet with yourself and explore these things, it's all going to just sit in there and fester unresolved. And by the way, it's not just going to sit in there. It's going to fucking spew out of every orifice into every other aspect of your life and every relationship. It's going to affect everyone else. It's going to affect everything if you don't deal with it. So you got to take some time and sit with yourself, sort through that shit Because without the influence of other people, you get to finally understand who you are, how you are, why you are the way you are, and what you actually want. This is when you start to hear the little whispers of your soul that you cannot hear unless you shut the up and get quiet with yourself. Okay? Because that calling, that gets lost in the noise of everyday life. So let's wrap it up. It's getting way too dark. Start small. Pick one little thing to do by yourself. Something that you normally would do with other people, and do it by yourself. Like, would you normally, or when you normally go for a walk, are you usually listening to something or talking on the phone, or do something you would usually do accompanied by other people? Do it alone. See how it feels. And if you really want to take on the challenge, plan have you ever gone on a trip by yourself? Like, for real, by yourself? Maybe a lot of you have, because you guys are pretty tapped in, I feel. So yeah. But do it. Have you ever just rented an Airbnb, like a little cabin somewhere? Ooh, somewhere in the mountains, rent a cabin and go there for the weekend and just be with yourself. And you can just write and read and don't watch any TV, because I don't watch TV anyways. But if you do, don't. Oh my God, it's the most amazing reset. It allows you to get back to baseline. Baseline being the truth of who you really are. Right? Like, just strips away all the fucking shit. And it's like, okay, this is what it feels like. This is what it feels like to be me. This is what I feel like. Because you forget how you feel when you're constantly surrounded by other people. So, in short, being alone, it's not a punishment. It's not a bad thing. It's an invitation to grow into the person that you're meant to be. And it's a return to your true essence. Who doesn't want that? Hello? I will leave you with one final thought, which is that we come into this world alone and we leave this world alone. Your relationship with yourself is the only one that you will have forever. Do not discount that. Okay, that's all for today, you guys. Watch one of these two videos, por favor. Otherwise, I will see you in the next one. Ciao.